All right, I've been researching some legends in the Dominican culture, and I came across a character named Ciguapa. And I wanted to ask you all first, what are the stories and descriptions you've heard about Ciguapa?
Yeah, she walks at night. It's a woman that walks at night with her feet backwards.
Okay, so she's a woman, and she's out at night, and then her feet are backwards.
And
She's like beautiful, and she has a really loud scream.
She's beautiful, and she has a really loud scream.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you see her, she'll get in love with you and eat you.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
you'll fall in love with her, and she'll eat you.
Okay, I had heard some very similar stories in my research. But do any of you know how she became like that? Why her feet were twisted? Well, that's the story I'm going to share with you then. Okay? Okay. So, many years ago, this is during the time of the Taínos, Ciguapa was originally a mermaid. And in the Taíno culture, they believed in the magical powers of mermaids and manatees. They thought they were like shapeshifters, and that they would kind of shape into different people, animals. So Ciguapa was a mermaid. She was swimming in the ocean, and she was a very curious person. And like you all have already mentioned, she is very beautiful. But beauty and curiosity can be kind of dangerous combination together. So she got kind of restless in her daily life. She was kind of bored as she was swimming around and living, day to day. So one day she was swimming around. She was swimming with the manatees, and she saw something she had never seen before. And it was huge. And because of her curiosity, she was drawn towards this. And in reality, what she saw was a huge ship. And on the ship were tons of men. And it was really the Spanish explorers coming to the Dominican Republic. Now, of course, Ciguapa didn't know that at the time. She was just so curious that as the ship came close, she kept riding the waves up and kind of jumping up and looking at it. Now, as you've probably heard in many sea stories, many men who are sailors will talk about spotting mermaids. So this is one of those situations. They saw her, and like many mermaid legends, she was very beautiful to them. They were like so entranced, just like you said. She had an interesting sound or call, so it's probably kind of like the scream you were talking about. And they all of the men kept talking about spotting her. And she was so drawn to these creatures that she had never seen. She didn't know what a human was. So she just swam close to the ship. Well, the captain of the ship was so interested in her that he threw down his net to capture her. And because she was curious, she was smart, she could have gotten away, but she decided, I'm going to check this out. So she was pulled up in the net onto the ship. And because of the magical powers of Ciguapa, when she came in contact with a new creature, she took that form. She became human. And she was actually very interested and entertained because she learned so many new things from the Spanish. There were so many inventions that they brought that she was constantly being challenged and interested and was having a great time. So she actually came in with the Spanish and started to live the Spanish ways, kind of grow up as a human. But as the history of the Dominican Republic that many of you have learned, whenever a culture comes to another one where there's an indigenous culture, there's conflict. And in the case of the Taínos, when the Spanish came and started settling, the Taíno culture started dying out. And part of it was from disease, but part of it was the Spanish taking over and doing some enslaving. And what happened is Ciguapa, she fell in love with the captain, but when she saw the cruelty and the Taíno culture passing away, she wanted to escape. She said, I need to go back to my roots, I need to go back to the sea. But when she tried to go back into the water, her fins wouldn't reemerge. She had lost her magical powers. And she was so angry and she was so desperate to go back that she herself twisted her feet backwards. She broke her own feet. And, you know, the pain and suffering when she did that because she was so determined. That still, you know, even though she turned her feet to look like fins, it wouldn't work for her. She could never swim again. So she was completely cut off from her culture. And years like that made her so angry that the legend you all shared, the reason why she, you know, is at night and that she gets people, that's her revenge for her leaving her culture. That's my story. Thanks.